everyone, it's Sandy, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated YA book releases for the second half of the year. So the books that I'm excited about that are coming out between the months of June to December of 2018. I'm going to cheat a little and include one book that's coming out in May because I thought it was originally coming out in June, so I didn't mention it in my first anticipated releases video for the first half of the year. That book is From Twinkle with Love by Sandhya Menon, and this book is coming out May 22nd. I originally thought it was coming out like June 5th, but I guess I was wrong. This is the second book written by the author of When Dimple Met Rishi, and I'm really excited about this one because it follows Twinkle, who is an aspiring filmmaker. She has the opportunity to direct a movie for a summer festival, and a really cool thing about this book is that it's told through letters written to Twinkle's favorite female directors. The next book that I'm anticipating is Save the Date by Matson. This book is coming out June 5th, and it follows Charlie, whose older sister is getting married, and it takes place over the course of 3 days, and there's a lot of problems and disasters that are leading up to the wedding. It has been quite a long time since Matson published a book, and I'm super excited for this new one that's coming out soon. I think Matson is like one of the queens of summer contemporary books, and I think I'm going to have a lot of fun reading this. My next most anticipated release is A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. This is the third book in An Ember in the Ashes series. I believe there's going to be a total of 4 books, and this third one is coming out June 12th. I don't reread books a lot, but I think I really need to do a reread before I jump into the third one because the second book came out almost 2 years ago, so it's been quite a long time since I've been back in the Ember in the Ashes world. Another anticipated release is 1,000 Beginnings and Endings, and this book is edited by Ellen O and Elsie Chapman. This book is actually a collection of short stories written by a variety of Asian American authors, and all of these short stories revolve around East and South Asian folklore and mythology, and it just sounds amazing. This one is coming out June 26th. I'm also looking forward to reading Contagion by Erin Bowman. This one is coming out July 24th, and it is a YA sci-fi book. This book is about a crew who is dispatched to a distant planet to perform a standard search and rescue mission, but when they arrive on this planet, they find an abandoned site full of dead bodies. So throughout this book, they're basically trying to figure out what happened and what's going on. I don't read a lot of sci-fi books, but this one sounds really interesting and I really want to know what happened. The next book is The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. This one is coming out July 31st. The synopsis of this book is pretty vague, but it seems to revolve around cheerleaders in this town. 5 years ago, 2 of the cheerleaders were in a car accident and they both ended up passing away. And then there were 2 other cheerleaders who were killed by a man next door. And then the last cheerleader is the main character's sister, who actually committed suicide. So there is death revolving around these cheerleaders, and the cheerleaders are suddenly relevant again. I don't really know what that means, but I read Little Monsters, which is a book written by the same author, and I really enjoyed that. And I really enjoy mystery books, so this was one that I wanted to add to my TBR. The next book is The Darkest Legacy by Alexandra Bracken. On Goodreads, it's labeled as the 4th book in the Darkest Minds trilogy, but it's more of a companion novel because it takes place 5 years after the end of the trilogy, and it follows Zoo, who is one of the side characters throughout the trilogy, and I really loved her character, and with the movie coming out, I'm even more excited to read this book, and I love the cover. This one is coming out July 31st. The next book that I'm looking forward to is Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This book is coming out August 7th, and it follows a leader of an outlaw dynasty and a thief. The synopsis, again, is also pretty vague, so I don't really know what is going to happen between these two, but I'm assuming they're gonna fall in love or something. And I really enjoyed Mary E. Pearson's The Remnant Chronicles, and I believe this book is set in the Remnant Chronicles world, so that sounds awesome and I can't wait to read it. The next book is Our Stories, Our Voices, which is an anthology edited by Amy Reed. Amy Reed is the author of The Nowhere Girls, which is one of my favorites of 2018. This is a collection of 21 essays written by 21 different YA authors. A few of the authors include Sandhya Menon, Julie Murphy, Maureen Gu, Nina LaCour, and Sona Cherapotra, and it explores the diverse experiences of injustice, empowerment, and growing up female in America. It sounds incredible. I can't wait to read it. I'm also looking forward to reading Don't Call Me Crazy, which is another anthology edited by Kelly Jensen. There are voices from 33 different people, including Adam Silvera, Libba Bray, Victoria Schwab, Emery Lord, Meredith Russo, and so much more. It's told through essays, artwork, poetry, and other things that revolve around the topic of mental health. This anthology comes out October 2nd. The next book that I'm anticipating is What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli. This book is coming out October 9th, and I love Adam Silvera's books, I love Becky Albertalli's books, so having one written by the both of them is amazing. This book follows Arthur, who is living in New York City for the summer, and one day Arthur meets Ben, who has just recently broken up with his boyfriend, and they met at a post office, and I believe that is the beginning of some sort of romance. I am really looking forward to reading this one. Another book that I'm looking forward to is Odd One Out by Nick Stone. I read her debut novel Dear Martin in March, and I thought it was incredible, so I'm looking forward to reading a new book she's publishing. The synopsis is very vague on Goodreads, but it shows the description of 3 different characters, so I'm assuming that these are the characters that the story is going to follow. This one is coming out October 9th. The next book is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 7th and final book in the Throne of Glass series. I'm not as connected with Sarah J. Maas's books anymore, but I have started the Throne of Glass series since the 2nd book was out. To be honest, I still need to read Tower of Dawn, but I'm hoping to get to it sometime this summer. But since this is the last book in the series, I'm really interested in seeing how Sarah J. Maas is going to wrap up the story, and this book is coming out October 23rd. The next book that I'm looking forward to reading is Little White Lies by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This book is coming out November 6th, and Jennifer Lynn Barnes is the author of the Natural series and the Fixer, and I love both of those series. I think she does a great job at writing mystery books, and this is another mystery thriller book. This book follows 18-year-old Sawyer, who is an auto mechanic. She is approached by her estranged grandmother with a 6-figure contract to participate in this debutante season, and I don't really know what that means, but the synopsis says that she does accept the offer and she immerses herself in her grandmother's society, and the society is in quotes. So is it some sort of secret society thing? I don't know. I'm just going to resort to reading a little bit of the synopsis on Goodreads just because I feel like I can't properly explain what this book is about. As Sawyer is drawn into the group of debutantes with scandalous, dangerous secrets of their own, Sawyer quickly discovers that her family isn't the only mainstay of high society with skeletons in their closet. There are people in her grandmother's glittering world who are not what they appear, and no one wants Sawyer poking her nose into the past. As she navigates the twisted relationships between her new friends and their powerful parents, Sawyer's search for the truth about her own origins is just the beginning. To be honest, I don't know if the synopsis intrigues me enough, but since it is written by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, I know that I am going to read it anyways, and hopefully I really enjoy it. Another book that I can't wait to come out is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Ngan, and this book is coming out November 6th. I read an article of this book that briefly describes it as a YA fantasy about 2 concubines of a demon king that fall in love and plot their escape. This book does involve Asian mythology, and it's based off of the author's own experience growing up in Malaysia. It sounds really great, and in the synopsis on Goodreads there is a trigger warning for violence and sexual abuse, so please be aware of that before picking it up. I also can't wait to read Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix by Julie C. Dow. This is the 2nd book in Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, which came out the year previously. The first book is an East Asian reimagining of the Evil Queen, and this 2nd book follows Snow White. I really enjoyed the first book, and I can't wait to see where the story goes. This book is also coming out November 6th. The second to last anticipated release is Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. This is the 2nd book in the Renegades trilogy. I can't wait to read this one because I read Renegades in April and I loved it. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. Renegades has to do with superheroes and villains, and the line between good and bad blurs. If you're interested in reading superhero books, I highly recommend reading Renegades. This book is also coming out November 6th. And the very last book that I have on my list for anticipated releases is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd and final book in the Dark Artifices trilogy. After the ending of the 2nd book, I have been waiting for this to come out, and originally we were going to have like a 2-year wait because Cassandra Clare is writing another Shadowhunter series, and the 1st book in that series was supposed to come out before this 3rd book, but then things got switched around, so the 3rd book is actually coming out earlier than expected. And I'm really excited because I love the Dark Artifices, I love the Blackthorn family, and I just really need to be back in the Shadowhunter world. This book is coming out December 4th, and it's probably my #1 most anticipated release for the 2nd half of the year. Those are all of my most anticipated YA book releases for the 2nd half of the year. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye!